Welcome to the table. This is Tablenauts. My name is Max.
I'm Doolin.
And we just finished playing Tiny Epic Dungeons by Gamelin Games, which is coming to Kickstarter or on Kickstarter right this very moment as you watch the video. If you like what you see in this video, I implore you to check out the link in the description and read the campaign page, see if this game is right for you. We're going to talk about our thoughts, and then coming soon, before the campaign ends, probably in the next week or so, we will have a 2-player gameplay coming up so you can see how we fared in the Tiny Epic Dungeon.
Absolutely.
Alright, Doolin, you go ahead and give us your initial impressions. Just talk about your general feel of the game.
Yeah.
And then we'll go into a little more detail.
So, I've not played very many of these games.
I've never played a single Tiny Epic game.
McCoy is very, very high on these.
So sorry, McCoy.
Yeah.
These are his favorite games. He leaves the country, and then we're like, hey, we're going to cover one.
Yeah, my guess is that he'll probably still get this, and he'll have his own thoughts on this as well, if you want to message him or anything like that. But having not played them, I had in my mind, small game, probably a easy to learn, short experience.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect a fully fledged out dungeon crawler.
Yes.
That has awesome individual cards that all have their different characters that all have their unique abilities and like all these different things, where it almost feels as if I'm playing a like $100 to $120 expensive board game.
Yeah. If these were like tiles instead of cards,
it could
and
easily
miniatures,
be that.
Which will be coming, it genuinely has the feel of a bigger boxed game.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm playing one of those very expensive games. But I mean, do you have any idea how much this is going to cost?
No clue. I don't even want to speculate. I assume it's not expensive because it's a Tiny Epic game, and I don't think they have very expensive games, but I won't even begin to speculate. I have zero idea how much it's going to cost, and I assume it's probably going to be a little more expensive or different because of the miniatures that they're including for the first time.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought the uniqueness of moving around and revealing the different tiles and everything about the enemy trackers and like all like the artwork is even beautiful. Yep. Everything about this screams, I need to have this in my collection. Yes. And that's not me trying to we're not sponsored by this.
No, this was not a paid preview or anything like that. In fact, they didn't even send us the games. We stole them from Jesse.
Yeah. We have no reason to make you feel like you absolutely need this. I'm telling you, this is an amazing game that you should get.
I've played these kind of tile-based flip-over dungeon systems before, and they always seem to be interesting and work well. This does it better than any of the others I've played, and I think it's important to know that this Tiny Epic game is not only a fun dungeon-in-a-box experience, there are legitimately some very cool things that this game does that are unique to me, at least. You may have played something that does these, and I haven't, but the thing that comes to mind first is the torch track. The torch track has, after each turn, you're moving down on the torch track, which various things happen when you get certain spots. Some spots, nothing happened. Other spots are when the monsters take their actions. Other spots, you spawn new monsters, and it's a race, right? Each time I've played this, we've gotten to like 5 turns remaining and are not like remotely close to being, and we're like, oh my god, like we have to. And the last 5 turns are a rush, like a race to figure out how to unlock the second page of this torch track.
Yeah.
Then I think the way that the dice work are really unique.
Yeah.
2s are arguably the best roll in the game,
even though they aren't high on the like attack, because obviously 6 is highest, but
it can be added. Yeah. Like a 2 and a 4 is equal to or greater than a 6, because you can roll 6 and 2 2s, meaning that your roll is actually a 10. Yeah. The uniqueness of that, and also the whole, you choose a dice, and if a leftover dice has focus, you gain that focus back. those are some legitimately unique and interesting design choices that this game has going for it.
Yeah, that I've never seen. I don't think on any game I've played.
Absolutely. And so many of the items and the spells are just incredibly cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, this game absolutely gives you a power trip, pitting you up against goblins that have 1 HP. And each time you kill them, you're earning new items, new spells. So it is a loot fest of different things being thrown at you.
And every card looks so cool.
Every card is unique and cool and certainly has use. Maybe not for your character, but there's not a single card in this game that is bad that I've seen. Mm-mm. It just may not work for your character and may work great for another.
And you're trying to get, like, it reminded me of like my time in other video games stuff where I want the set to match.
Yeah, like The Witcher. I'm thinking The Witcher where it's you want the armor of the cat and the armor of the owl or whatever it's called. Because you get these bonuses that just stack and stack and ultimately lead to you being a bloodthirsty lion that just heals up every time you attack.
By the end of the game, you can't see it really, but like the artwork on these all match, and I got the full set of the lion that all give bonuses. Now, if I had just pulled random cards, I wouldn't have had that bonus, which is a cool addition to the game.
Yeah.
That they didn't have to add. It didn't need it, but I mean, you went for the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch.
I don't know if it's our video game backgrounds, but the sets to me is such a minor thing. But having the, like, just the thoughts, like, I need to find this item to complete the set is just so uniquely fun. I don't know over the span of a game, or the span of the lifetime of this game, if it'll come to, like, a meta, where as Thordon, you're like, I just need the Graves of the Lion, I just need the Lion set. And maybe that's the case, because these are all very clearly focused on one character. Yeah. The Panther being focused on the assassin type character. The Lion being focused on really either of the melee characters. I guess even the assassin. The Phoenix is pretty much only focused on Atherna that I can tell. But they all have uses. You know, Atherna can still punch and still use axes and stuff. It boosts her up way beyond her normal ability. Yeah. It's just not what she excels at.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the meta will grow if you end up playing and only looking for the same set every time. But in my 3 plays now, I mean, it hasn't been the same. I did get the Phoenix every time, but like, it's probably the best, but I'm not worried about not having it. I'm trying to use other things until that point.
So you touched on this a little bit in terms of items. I would say you're right. Replayability there. Long term, you're probably going to get to a point where you know this set is good for my character.
But you'll still have to pivot if you don't find it.
And I would say this game does so well in other areas in terms of replayability that you're not going to feel like, oh, I don't want to play this game again and do the same exact thing. Because something we haven't even touched on yet is before you get to the boss monster, you have to face loads and loads of minions, which there are so many. Like, there's quite a few here that I've never even seen, because you only face 2 per game
in a 2-player game.
Okay, so there's well, that's why
you're gonna face 4 in a 4-player game and 3 in a 3-player game.
But there's a bunch here that I've never seen that I'm excited to try again and play against. And these are the highlights for me. The goblins are okay.
Yeah, the goblins aren't. They're your standard. It reminds me of a video game where you've got the fodder. You know, they're there. You kill them. They're just in the way. They can end up seriously hurting you, especially towards the end of the game, as you will see. Yeah. But they are certainly not the most unique or cool aspect of this game.
I would definitely say they're probably the lower end in terms of what I like about this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a huge fan of their immediate, like, they automatically get hits against you, because with my full set of stuff, the only thing I had to worry about by the end of the game was those little goblins hurting me.
Because the boss wasn't hurting you, because he had to fight your armor, whereas the goblins...
loaded up.
Yeah. Because the goblins just do damage. It's not a roll. They roll for their counterattacks, but their abilities just do damage, which ignores your armor.
Yeah.
But I think that genuinely it's kind of cool, just having thought about that actually just while we were looking at it. I think it is interesting that also the meta may grow once you find out what boss you have. You may pivot to a different set if you have the time, and you may not, because the track is just running down. But for you, the lion was amazing, and it didn't help the boss at all, really. No, because he doesn't hurt. This Goblin King does not hurt. He don't, like, I imagine this with my Aphantasia, that this guy's just chilling here, basically making goblins do the work for him and not even striking back. Like, you're just sitting there hitting him, he's just like, Goblin, do the damage.
And he's healing every time. Yeah.
So had you had the bear set that gives you an additional number to your rolls, each hit you would have done way more damage.
Yeah.
So it's like against certain bosses, certain sets may work better.
Yeah.
And the spells, dude, some of these spells are incredibly cool. Spirit Arrows allows me to do damage to a single target and then all targets adjacent to me, which is it was incredible for the way this happened because of all the goblin spawning. Obviously, you'll have to watch the video to see how well it worked, but it was perfect for this scenario.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I'm gushing about this game, but and I am.
There's a lot to this, but it's so easy to learn. Like it took me
15 minutes,
maybe 15 minutes to learn, and as the game goes on, you're learning new things, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. Like each room has a different action, but everything is labeled very clearly.
There's a lot of iconography. Just something to note, but it's not. Once you understand what they're doing, it's fairly simple to get the iconography. There are a few things that you're going to have questions about, and the rulebook, at least in the prototype, does a fairly decent job of explaining what the iconography means.
You might just have to have an index right beside you, but, I mean, what game at this point
do you not need that for?
And I would say very easy. Like, you're going to know immediately, oh, this is a trap room, or oh, this is an ambush room, or oh, this is a unique way to pick up items that we've dropped room.
Right.
It's a very interesting and well made game. I'm all for it.
Me too. Short and sweet. I think it's very clear already. Yep. Back it.
Tablenauts approved. It doesn't take long. You just have to be a board game. But right. I'm just kidding. We don't have a whole lot of things we hate. This is higher up on my list.
Yes, agreed.
And it will almost certainly be one that
I agree. I can't imagine the price point would steer me away from this. I genuinely think this is a accessible, approachable, and actually a lot to, I don't know what I'm trying to say, a lot of depth involved too for such a small box. And I think we've touched on that. And we're probably saying too much at this point in time. So we're just going to go back to what Doolin just said. Back it. Tablenauts approved. Tiny Epic Dungeons.
I want a Thornton Firebraid miniature.
You will have it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Check out Tiny Epic Dungeons on Kickstarter. Link in the description below.